What's up you guys, Charles here and welcome back to the channel. Now with 77% of students wishing they had had better financial education before going to university, I assume you are probably one of those, and in this video we're going to go over a few points on how you will be able to save more money at university through stuff like budgeting, discounts, and using your money correctly. Now firstly, let's go over budgeting. And I know it is quite boring, but it is essential, not just at uni, but also in life in general when you're managing money, because you need to know what's going in and what's going out. And you need to know where you have to tighten your belt when you're at uni or other places in life when you need to save all that money, because if you're tracking all your expenses, you know which ones are useless and which ones are essential. But also it allows you to see where the spare money is and where you can invest that into your retirement for later on in life, or also save up for holidays or any sort of activities you want to do. And a good analogy to sort of imagine your bank account is like a bucket with loads of holes in it. And every month or whenever you get your money, you pour some water in, that's your income, and it goes out through all the holes. And as long as there's still water in that bucket, you're fine. And you can pour it back into your pension or ISA or somewhere you can save and invest it. But if those holes are too big or there are too many of those holes, then the water will go all the way out of the bucket before you're able to refill it again, and that's when you're in serious trouble and you might get into terrible stuff like credit card debt. And to avoid that, you need to know where the holes are, if you can block them, or if you can make them smaller, and budgeting allows you to do that exactly. Now firstly, obviously you need to establish your income, so you need to know how much is coming in each month. So for university, that might be a combination of how much your parents are giving you, how much your student loan is giving you, and any sort of side gigs you're doing on the side, which I personally recommend you doing because it's better than just sitting and watching Netflix all day. For example, this YouTube channel is one of my side gigs, and I actually enjoy it a lot because I try to teach people how to manage, save and invest money, and also make more money. So if that sounds like you, subscribe also. But back to what I was saying, knowing your income is essential, because knowing your income means you know how much you are able to spend or not spend, and is one of the bases for your weekly or monthly budget. Now you've established all your income streams and what your total monthly income is, you of course now need to address the holes in your bucket, which is how much money goes out per month and per week. Now with these expenses, you need to split them into two different categories, the essential ones and the non-essential ones. Now for a university student, the essential ones will be something like rent, groceries, course material, all types of bills, so this involves phone bills and utilities if you're renting, and any other sort of bill, and transport, so to get to uni or to get back home. But when you're summing up all these essential expenses, you have to make sure that you are taking into account everything. So this is if you have a car, fuel for your car insurance. Otherwise, if you're going back by train, how often you go back by train, how often you go back by bus. And course material involves obviously everything for your course, so textbooks, membership to any online websites or design softwares you might need to pay for, everything. You need to know everything that goes out. Now for the second category, obviously we've done essentials, so the second one is non-essentials. These involve mostly things you want, so for example night outs, drinking, eating out, hobbies, gym membership, other sports memberships, haircuts, subscriptions to, for example, Amazon Prime or Netflix, traveling. If you want to build new experiences and go traveling abroad with friends, you need to take into account how much that will be. But also you need to take into account gifts. So all this just Christmas and birthdays, you should try break that down into a weekly cost so that it doesn't suddenly draw a new hole at a given month around Christmas period. And of course any donations to charity you wish to make. But I'm counting that in gifts. Now once you've got your expenses all laid out on the table, and you know exactly what's going in and what's going out, you need to make a weekly budget. So I don't know how often money goes into your account, but you need to break it down so that it comes down to a weekly income and weekly expenses. Because if you're tracking it only by month or even by term, which is so much worse, then you won't keep track of it because you won't keep track of your funds. It has to be on a weekly basis. So you know if you're dropping off on one side or lacking, then you know that you need to compensate for that in the next week, for example, or that you need to cut down on expenses. Now to do so, you need to calculate your total income for the week minus your expenses, and then your budget for what you can spend on other stuff than essentials is what's left. For example, if your total income for the first term of university is £3,000 and your total essential expenditures is 1,500, then you've got £125 per week. That's across a 12-week term. Now this is just the basic budget making, but you have to give yourself goals on how much you want to spend on each thing. For example, here on this channel I advocate to save 10 to 20%, preferably 20% of your income, and invest that into an ISA where you can then invest that into stocks and shares. And I say this because the more you save earlier, the earlier you can retire. So it's good to have a long-term vision for yourself and not just a short-term vision. I've got a bunch of videos on how to do that, so feel free to go check those out. But when I say goals, I mean you need to set a certain amount of your income aside for saving, certain amount of your income away for fun, so that involves traveling but also going out and alcohol in general or other substances. But you need to set yourself a goal for what you're going to spend where. And of course essential expenses you can't really change at all. So the only place you can change is the money you've got left. So then you just have to be smart with that money and set yourself goals. So if you want to have more money for fun, then you need to close down on groceries, which is an essential expense, but you can cut down on that. Or if your gym membership is costing too much, and get into calisthenics or go running or different way to get fit. Now you might be thinking, okay, you've told me what I need to do, but how do I now do this? Well, you can do this in different ways. The first way is to make a spreadsheet yourself, although I will link below, and if I forget to link it, because sometimes I do, once I've done all the editing and stuff, then just comment down below and I answer all the comments. But I'll link to a spreadsheet that I haven't made myself, but I've got off the internet, that automatically fills in, once you put the numbers in, how much money you have left and your budget and stuff. But one way of budgeting is you put it all on a spreadsheet and you see what goes in, what goes out, and where. The second way to do it is through apps. So budgeting apps, and often those come with your bank account. For example, Starling Bank and Monzo, they track your expenses and they put your purchases into different categories, food, entertainment, etc. And those budgeting apps do it directly for you to tell you what's going where. Now another way of budgeting, which is a lot more simplistic, but is taking your money out in cash and putting it, in different envelopes and saying this much is for my groceries, this much is for bills, this much is there. And so you actually see when you're running low and you know when you need to cut back. But I don't personally think that's a good thing. I think if you can get a credit card, then you get one. I've done videos on how to build up your credit score so that you are able to get a credit card. One student bank account comes with a credit card, which is HSBC. So you should think of opening an HSBC student account or switching to one so that you can get this credit card. And then once you've got your credit card, you can see everything you spend as long as you spend it all on your credit card. But you don't want to spend too much on your credit card depending on your credit limits, otherwise it will affect your credit score. But I've got videos on that explaining how all that works. But by building up your credit, you'll save more on loans in the future. And finally, before you click off this video, there are also ways to make your money go further by using apps like Uni Days, Student Beans, a Totem Card to get student discounts, and by getting those student discounts, of course, you're making your money go further. Other smart ways of doing it are getting those vouchers for McDonald's where you can get a £2 Big Mac and fry, and you can use that again and again. Get as much student finance as possible, so if you're eligible for bursaries, scholarships and stuff, try apply for those and get those. Make sure you make a clear distinction from what you need to what you want, and sometimes you can't get everything that you want. For example, I would deem a Moncler jacket a want, and I'd say before you go buy a Moncler jacket, think about whether it's really worth it, because you're just essentially buying it to impress other people that probably aren't worth impressing. And so cut that £500 or whatever you're about to spend on that jacket and maybe buy a return flip to Vietnam and go on a trip with your friends, because that at least you will remember forever, unlike your Moncler jacket. And of course, get a job or start something online, like a YouTube channel. You end up getting paid a bit by your YouTube channel. It might take time to build up so that you get the amount of followers and watch time you need, which is what I'm currently doing. But all good things take time, so commit to building a YouTube channel, drop shipping, for example. You can do some match betting, start selling on Amazon, eBay, go on the next door neighbor app and find what's free in your area and try get that, pick those up for free and then resell them on eBay for profits. There's loads of smart ways of making money, and to boost your income, of course, then you can boost your spending. Although I'd say boost your income and keep your spending the same and save the difference and invest it, but not everyone thinks the same as I do. So you do you, but I'd say increase your income. Now listen, if you gained any value from this video, I really would appreciate it if you did smash that like button. It really helps me and the channel reach more people through the YouTube algorithm. But also leave a comment down below. I try to answer to all of them. So if you've got any questions or any comments, then that also helps boost the YouTube algorithm, but of course I answer to all of them if you've got any questions. And smash that subscribe button if you want to hear more videos like this in the future. Thanks for your time and see you next time.